It takes money to kill bad guys. That was the sentence Pete Hegseth delivered at a Pentagon press briefing on March 19, 2026. Cameras rolling, microphones live, a room full of reporters watching the Secretary of Defense justify a $200 billion funding request for a war that Congress had never authorized, in a country where gas prices had crossed $4 a gallon, and Americans were paying for it at every fill-up. Marjorie Taylor Greene had been watching that briefing from her phone, and she had written down exactly 4 words. It takes money. 3 days later, she was seated across from him. The setting was a congressional oversight session, March 22, 2026. Hegseth arrived with the posture of a man accustomed to performing confidence under pressure. He had been doing it since the war began. Press briefings, cable hits, Pentagon statements delivered with the forceful simplicity of someone who had decided that certainty was more persuasive than nuance. He had struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran. He had presided over the largest strike package yet, and then the next day, the largest again. He had called ungrateful allies ungrateful. He had said the number could move when asked about the $200 billion. He had said it would be at the president's choosing when asked when it would end. He had not been asked yet what it had cost the people paying for it. That was about to change. Greene did not open with a speech. She opened with a document. It was a 1-page summary from a nonpartisan budget watchdog. She placed it face up on the table in front of her, where the cameras could capture it clearly. She let Hegseth see it for 2 full seconds before she spoke. Secretary Hegseth, she said, on March 19th, you told reporters at the Pentagon that it takes money to kill bad guys. I want to talk to you about whose money. She looked down at the document. The first 100 hours of this conflict cost $3.7 billion. The pre-strike military buildup cost an estimated $630 million before a single bomb fell. The war is currently running at more than $1 billion per day. You are now requesting $200 billion more from Congress, a war that Congress never authorized. She looked up. How much of that, Secretary Hegseth, is being paid by Americans who are already spending $4 a gallon at the pump because of the Strait of Hormuz closure? The pause that followed was not long. It was 3 seconds. But in those 3 seconds, something shifted. Hegseth had a prepared posture for questions about the war's objectives. He had language for questions about Iran's nuclear program and regional stability and the importance of maintaining American strength. He did not have prepared language for a question framed entirely in terms of a household budget. He reached for the familiar architecture, national security, the threat posed by Iran, the importance of projecting strength, American leadership in the region, the consequences of inaction. Greene waited. When he finished, she did not address any of it. She reached for the second document. This one was a campaign transcript, a compilation of public statements made by Donald Trump during the 2024 presidential campaign. Statements about foreign wars, about the cost of foreign entanglement, about bringing the troops home and putting Americans first. She did not read all of it. She read one sentence, the relevant one, the one that her constituents had voted for. No more foreign wars. She placed it on the table next to the budget document. Secretary Hegseth, she said, I want to be precise about something. The people I represent voted for no more foreign wars. That was not a footnote. It was a campaign promise. Now they are paying $4 for gas, and you are asking Congress for $200 billion more, with no timeline for when this ends. You said yourself it would be at the president's choosing. She paused. I am asking you to tell the American people right now what the end condition is. Not what we're striking, not how many targets. What does the end look like? And how much more will it cost before we get there? Hegseth straightened. He referenced operational security. He explained that providing a public timeline would compromise military objectives and put American service members at risk. He said the president had been clear that when the objectives were achieved, the operation would conclude. He said the situation was evolving and that the administration was committed to keeping Congress informed through the appropriate classified briefing channels. He did not name an end condition. He did not provide a cost estimate. He did not address the gas prices. Greene reached for the third document. This one was the Pentagon's own press briefing transcript from March 19th. The relevant quote was highlighted. As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move. Obviously, it takes money to kill bad guys. She read it out loud. Then she placed it next to the other two documents. 3 documents on the table: a cost report, a campaign promise, and a quote from the man sitting across from her. "You said the number could move," she said quietly. "Move in which direction?" The silence that followed lasted longer than the first. Hegseth began a sentence about the complexity of forecasting military expenditures in a dynamic operational environment. He referenced the need to ensure American forces were properly equipped. He said the administration was working closely with congressional leadership on the supplemental funding request. He did not answer the question. Greene gathered her documents slowly. She aligned their edges against the table with the unhurried deliberateness of someone who understood that the record had already been made and that nothing Hegseth said in the remaining seconds would change what was now sitting in the transcript. "I have no further questions at this time," she said. The same 4 words she had used before, the same weight behind them. Not a conclusion, a marker, a place in the record where specific questions had been asked and specific answers had not been given. 3 documents remained on the table: the cost of the first 100 hours, the promise of no more foreign wars, and the defense secretary who had said the number could move, but could not say which direction or when it would stop. The Americans paying $4 a gallon were still at the pump. The $200 billion request was still at the White House. The war was still running at more than $1 billion a day. And Pete Hegseth had not answered a single question about any of it.